Hello, everybody. It is February the 21st, 2021, 02212021. For all you number junkies out there, including me. Hi, how are you? I don't care. I'm Doug Lackey, host of Wrestleview Weekly. That would normally be around 5 o'clock today, filling you in on everything that's happening in the wrestling worlds. But we aren't doing that because it's Wrestleview Live. It is after I want to say this is the Pop-O-Matic of Doom Elimination Chamber. A big old, like the Trouble board game, the Pop-O-Matic thing. That's what it reminds me of. Man, I'm old, and that's a very weird reference. But Elimination Chamber just happened, and I love pay-per-views. It ended at 9:30 this evening. Holy crap, we can go to bed at a decent hour today. But you know what? I know someone else who is incredibly happy that the show ended at 9:30 and we got all set up and everything. He is the effervescent editor-in-chief of Wrestleview.com, the co-host of the Post-Raw Recap with the true host of that show, Queen Victoria. It is Mike Tedesco. Mike, how you doing?
Doug, I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. The pay-per-view ended, gosh, it was only 2.5 hours.
Yeah, get that.
Oh my gosh, it's a beautiful time. I have a very, very happy wife right now, and you know what that means. That means, happy life and all that stuff. Miz was Money in the Bank champion, and now he's the WWE champion. Things are very, very happy in the Tedesco household. I might even have her come in here and talk about it for a second, but
okay.
Yeah, I'm feeling great, Doug. That was actually a really easy watch, a fun show, and you know how we talked last month at the with the Royal Rumble match, how we were expecting certain things to happen. We were expecting some silly Bray Wyatt stuff and this and that. There was a bunch of things that we were just thinking was going to happen, and it didn't happen. That happened a few times tonight, actually, for me. Number one, I did think Bray Wyatt was coming in the chamber. There was a couple things I thought were going to happen in the SmackDown match. I was just sitting back, enjoying the show, and just absorbing these surprises, because it's very rare for me and you really to be surprised anymore. So I really enjoyed this show because there was just a lot of stuff I didn't see coming, and some of the stuff was better than I imagined.
For me, let me see. I think I'll go ahead and I'll kind of give my 2 cents later on down the line when we get into the meat and potatoes of the show. But I, first off, of course, I've always got to do this. It's been 2 weeks since I've done this, and I've got to get the pleasantries out of the way first. So, if you're in the chat room now, you say "we." If you're not in the chat room, there's not a damn thing I can do about that. Who all is in the chat room? I know you're in there. I saw you going "we," and you were prematurely going "weeing" all over everyone else. You guys made a mess all over the chat room. Do it again. Just do it again. I see Andrew. I see Hayden. I see Quentin. I see Mediocre Lewis. I see Nafisa Dot. I see Randy. I see Jamel. I see Grash. He's given me 2 brand new Golden Gallon graphics that we're going to be debuting very soon. I see Roy. I see Billy. Wee! The Hefner. The Billy Hefner is the thing. I see Daniel. I see another Brian. I see Tyler Upson. Wee! It was a good mess. You're a disgusting person. Okay. All right. Whew. Felt good to get that out of my system. It's been a while,
Build it up.
And there's an Acer in the chat room. I know his name, but I can't remember it because I'm too damn excited. Wee! Okay. And sexy hunk of Man Meat Lewis is in the chat room. Wee! All right. Damn. Oh, God damn it, Bobby Strauss, you're late. Wee! It's been 2 weeks. Since you looked at me, 2 weeks since you just hit me in the side and said I'm crazy. No, it's been 2 weeks since I've been on the air, been in front of a microphone, setting up the brand new house that we just moved in. I'm in my brand new studio, so everyone is happy. Everyone can sleep at a decent hour. And you know what's even weirder is that in that 2 week span, I had not been following the WWE programming. as
Lucky you.
closely as I usually do. And so coming up to this show was a little difficult for me, just because I was trying to remember everything that was happening while looking at the card for Elimination Chamber going, okay, well, what's important and what isn't? What's going on here? And speaking of that card, there were a lot of changes to that card in the span of a handful of days that really threw me for a loop. Jason and Lamar in the chat room going, wee! Okay, yeah, Mike, why don't you fill us in? What? Give us some quick results here, and more importantly, the changes to from the original card that happened here.
Okay, well, obviously, one of the more obvious changes was we were initially supposed to have a Raw Women's Championship match. Obviously, it was announced on Monday. Lacey Evans said she was pregnant, which I thought was just, okay, we're going full white trash now. Ric Flair is going to be, fathering a child at 71, and it's going to be fake because she's trying to get to Charlotte and this and that. And I thought it was going to be this whole white trash Jerry Springer thing. Turns out Lacey Evans is actually legitimately pregnant.
Uh-oh, tiny human in the tum-tum.
Tiny human in tum-tum. She goes on the injured list.
Yeah, yeah.
She was injured by a man's sword. And, oh, that was weird. And I just got Victoria was like, what? And I don't know what the hell that was. And so they pulled that match. Now they had 6 days to find a new opponent for Asuka, but they just figured, and for the better, the show didn't need another match. It was actually just perfectly timed, but they had 6 days to come up with another opponent for Asuka. They neglected to do that, and they kept her off the card. And according to Sam Roberts, nobody cares about Asuka. So that's been trending all night.
Intrepid reporting, yeah.
Yes, even though Sam Roberts is playing a heel on the kickoff show, everybody took it very, very seriously. And, Asuka deserves better, this and that. It's like, well, Asuka would actually – it would be a disservice to have her on the show because now she's just on the show just to be on the show.
Right.
It's like just if it's not going to play into something going into WrestleMania, because almost everything that was on the show tonight had some WrestleMania implication. Literally every match had a WrestleMania implication to it. Mm-hmm. And Asuka going against Mandy Rose, what does that mean?
Let's not lump Asuka in the same category as Jackson, Riker, or Elias, okay?
Right.
To have them on TV for the sake of TV.
Yes, exactly. The other big change was, well, he was missing on Monday. We did talk about this on Post Raw. Keith Lee was nowhere to be seen. They said that he was injured by the attack from Bobby Lashley or something like that, but that he would be at the show on Sunday. Well, I guess he didn't pass the test to get in the building. I'm not saying he has COVID, but his fiance had COVID and she hasn't been seen. No Keith Lee. He was pulled. They had a fatal 4-way instead to kick off the show with Mustafa Ali, John Morrison, Elias, and Ricochet. And John Morrison wound up replacing Keith Lee. Which that needed to happen because they couldn't just have Riddle go in there and beat Bobby Lashley. You need to have that extra fall guy in there so you can get the U.S. title off of Lashley and set him up. Imagine losing a title sets you up to get a bigger title.
Yeah.
That's where we're at now. But you had to get that title off him if you're going to make him a major challenger to Drew McIntyre. It just doesn't make sense to have the U.S. title tied up in a WWE Championship match. So, but that was a big change. I don't know what the result would have been if Keith Lee was there. I would imagine Keith Lee would have been winning his first singles title tonight. But the show must go on. Business has to keep moving forward. We have to get the belt off him. And Riddle was the guy that got the title tonight because he was involved in that feud. So, but I really thought it was like, oh man, that would have been Keith Lee's moment right there.
Could have been.
Because Riddle, other than like the stoner gimmick, which is just very one-dimensional, he's not really doing much. He's been getting killed by Lashley, and it's not like they were putting him over strong leading into this. So, but whatever. They think that's how you build stars now. So,
I mean, we'll dip into those, later on. We get in depth on this show. Inside the Pop-O-Matic, what happened?
Okay, so here's what happened at the show. So we have Daniel Bryan defeats Jey Uso, Cesaro, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and King Corbin in the number one Contenders Elimination Chamber match. He was supposed to have a match later in the night for the Universal title, but Roman Reigns, I don't really know who the authority figure is on SmackDown. I know Sonya Deville is acting as one, but it's just like, why would you like who's the heel that's sending Roman Reigns out there to face Daniel Bryan immediately after the Elimination Chamber match?
Yeah.
But Roman Reigns beats Daniel Bryan as soon as that match is over, chokes him out in the guillotine, retains the Universal title. So a 34-minute match and a 2-minute match to follow up to it. Riddle beats John Morrison and Bobby Lashley. John Morrison took the pin there, not Bobby Lashley, to win the United States Championship. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax beat Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, the SmackDown Women's Champion, to retain the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. A lot of championship. There's so many titles. Drew McIntyre defeats AJ Styles, Sheamus, Jeff Hardy, Kofi Kingston, and Randy Orton in the Elimination Chamber to retain the WWE Championship. And then the big surprise, the big news that has just set the Tedesco household on fire. Victoria's going to go outside and burn our curtains later on in celebration. The Miz defeats Drew McIntyre to win the WWE Championship, cashes in Money in the Bank. He's the new champion. Wow.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, yeah, and some kind of women's tag team championship match happened. But
I just said that.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, Bianca Belair, and Sasha Banks. I was like, championship.
Too many titles. Way too many. I think there are like 11 titles. 12. No, there are 12 titles in the WWE, just in the United States alone. Yeah, 12. Do I need to list them all?
I'm actually going to look right now.
World, Universal, NXT, North American, United States, Intercontinental, tag titles on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, women's titles on Raw and SmackDown and NXT, women's tag team titles, and the Little Critter title.
Oh, don't forget. No, actually, there's 15.
There's 15. Oh, God.
If you include the Cruiserweight Championship, which is multi-branded, the 24/7 Championship, which is multi-branded, and the women's tag titles, which are multi-branded.
Okay, I forgot those. All right. Well, again, Doug doesn't know shit about professional wrestling, so what do you expect? All right. Okay, let's... Usually on every pay-per-view recap show that you ever see, someone's always bitching and complaining about the show. Something didn't happen how they wanted it to happen. And by God, we predicted this would happen. But what the fuck does Vince McMahon know writing television for 45 years? But this show is completely different. The very first thing we always talk about is we try to find the positives, okay? So we always try to find at least one. And so with The Miz and his sloppy, stupid grin right there in front, holding up the title so Victoria can run her laps all around the house. Mike, you better get this one right. What was your favorite thing about Elimination Chamber?
All right, I'll tell one lie and one truth.
Okay.
The Miz winning the WWE Championship.
Okay.
And Sheamus and Drew McIntyre inside the Elimination Chamber.
All right.
One of those is a lie, but I'm not going to tell you which one.
You're a smart man.
I just got to talk about both, I guess.
Yeah.
But I would like to start with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus.
Mm-hmm.
Because that storyline just kind of happened. It started happening in November, and it was just like, what? Like, really? Like, I guess that's going to be the TLC match. They're going to tease that they had this 20-year friendship. It's going to have a 2-week build, and then they're going to have a match, and it's going to be the end of it.
Yeah.
Instead, they showed a rare display of restraint and kept those two, together for 2 months, to put over the 20-year friendship. They were never really on the same page at any point. There was always teasing that Sheamus was going to turn on him.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, Sheamus has every reason to turn on him. Drew McIntyre was a horrible friend to him, and multiple times throughout this storyline. I remember in December, leading into TLC, AJ Styles had Sheamus upside down, tied up in the ropes, and was just hitting him with a chair in the ribs and the ball sack. He definitely got hit there. and no Drew McIntyre to save him. Some friend, jeez,
Yeah,
man.
jeez.
But anyway, like they pulled the trigger on that at the night after the Royal Rumble, and I was like, wow, that should be the WrestleMania match because it was actually starting to gain some momentum, and then they had Sheamus turn. They had this little interaction on Monday night in the Gauntlet match. And I was like, wow, that was I want to see more of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get in the Elimination Chamber, and they had this great shot of Sheamus when he was in the pod. He wasn't looking at anything. He just had his hands on the pod, looking down, looked very pensive, looked very just like he's just imagining his next move.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, I couldn't believe I was sitting here like I cannot wait for Sheamus to get in this match because this is gonna fucking kick ass.
Mm-hmm.
He gets in the match. Very first thing Drew McIntyre does is fucking potatoes him right in the cheek with a right hand. Actually, you have the GIF up right now, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
And wow, what a brawl they had. And it was so much fun to watch. Sheamus did not get pinned by Drew McIntyre. He did get eliminated by AJ Styles. So Drew McIntyre has yet to beat him. So it's like we have one more pay-per-view in between all this. We obviously have the Bobby Lashley thing that's going to have to be resolved. Like I'm imagining, why in 2021 do we need to have? I mean, the Miz is going with Bad Bunny. I mean, there's no question about it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So like Miz is just holding the title because they have to get Money in the Bank off of him. It's a good thing, like Miz is definitely, I will say this, and I truly mean this. In the 10 years since he last held the title, he has grown by leaps and bounds. He carried Raw for 2 solid years from like 2016, 2017, and early 2018 even, before getting moved to SmackDown. And he even did well on SmackDown as a face for a while. Miz has been one hell of a character and probably one of the better guys that hasn't held the title in recent years. So he gets his little appreciation right now. He gets his title, but I can't imagine that he retains it past Fastlane. But then what do you do with Bobby Lashley? It's like all I want, and I can't believe like there's 2 guys on the roster that are there full time, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. We have an opportunity to have like this showdown that people would actually want to see. Like we don't need to insert Bobby Lashley in there. We don't need to insert The Miz in there. Like I just want more of that Drew McIntyre and Sheamus potato fest.
Mm-hmm.
I want that injected into my bloodstream. That's how good it was. It was fun to watch. But there's a lot of questions now. How do you get to that singles match? Can you even get that singles match heading into WrestleMania now with what they've done? And if they don't have Bobby Lashley in there, then what are you doing with Bobby Lashley? Like is that a Brock Lesnar thing? Is that a Goldberg thing? Like where is this heading? There's a lot of questions, but I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing how they work around this.
And I guess that's kind of leads into what my favorite thing was of this show was just you said earlier when it came to Royal Rumble, we set the bar so low, okay, and it was very easy to step over. Don't give us any Fiend bullshit, and they didn't give us any Fiend bullshit, and it was a pretty decent show. Elimination Chamber, again, I'm going into this show with, a card that's changed dramatically. And lots of question marks everywhere, just from me as the viewer watching it and being kind of taking this straight, real life catching up with you. And you're wanting to get back into the fold, but you're led astray. You don't know what's happening. That's kind of what it was like with me going into this show. I'm okay, guys, sell me on what's important. Sell me on why I should be paying attention to all this stuff. I don't have time to watch my DVR SmackDown, Raw, and NXT for the past 2 weeks. Okay, I am a brand new person coming into this pay-per-view. Sell me on what you got. Okay. The storytelling in each match. Let me see. you had the good, which was definitely the Raw Elimination Chamber match, which was, you had the good, which is very, very good. I don't want to say every person having their own piece in the story. Jeff Hardy is there to be Jeff Hardy and do Jeff Hardy things. Randy Orton is there to do Randy Orton things, but it's all boils down to Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. And yeah, AJ Styles has got a very large African-American friend to rip the plexiglass off the back of a door, and that's really neat. And Kofi Kingston, and Kofi Kingston is there to give us all the happy feels that we used to have. Totally understand everyone's place in that match. But then the monkey wrench thrown in with The Miz cashing in at the behest of Bobo Lashley's help. Oh, that made it all the better. Okay. Then you have the bad, which was honestly the women's tag team match, which just did not click by any stretch. And I got to tell you, I don't know whose tempos did not fit with who else's tempos, but nothing really clicked in that match. And on top of it all, you got this, the sommelier, Reginald, coming out there. And I'm totally lost on that. I don't know why he's out there. I don't know who's supposed to be smitten or not smitten. And also, apparently, Nia Jax's glass jaw has been healed, but now she has a glass hole. So they're going after her hole the entire time. Now, Shawn Michaels' back is the same as Nia Jax's hole, whatever that could be. Okay, I don't want to think too much in that. And then you've got the ugly. The ugly being how the card came about in the first place.
Well,
you know, it was ugly. How the card came about and how we tried to mishmash everything together within 6 days. It's kind of ugly. You know, and I totally get
that's
people.
COVID. That's been COVID the entire time, man.
Yeah. But one thing that I really did like about the show is that so many questions come up. Just like what you're saying. We are 7 weeks away from Wrestlemania on a pirate ship that we were supposed to get last year. But we are 3 weeks away.
That's a 2-night WrestleMania. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Go on.
No, you're fine. You're fine. By the way, someone predicted that WrestleMania was going to be 2 nights again. If I can find that asshole, I think he's still at the apartment. But in 3 weeks, we have the Fast Lane. And so after you watch everything and you see The Miz and MVP talking backstage, and you're like, ooh, The Miz is going to cash in. Well, how are they going to go about doing this? By the way, Fastlane comes up in 3 weeks. Oh, all right. So that's how we're going to do it. We're going to have this be some kind of filler to get us to care about Bad Bunny.
I actually had an idea that they could actually do, because it's a 2-night WrestleMania event. You could have Miz versus Drew McIntyre first night of WrestleMania. Bad Bunny costing the match. You have the tag match with Miz and Morrison versus Damian Priest and Bad Bunny the next night.
Sure.
And Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, or something like that. I don't know. Like because it's 2 nights. Actually, that leaves you open with so many more options.
Oh yeah.
You can have multiple WrestleMania matches.
I'm looking at Fastlane, The Miz versus Bobo Lashley, which is probably going to happen. You know, MVP's like, hey, look, we did you a solid, Miz. Now you got to do us a solid, you know. Right. While at the same time, then you got Drew McIntyre and Sheamus going after each other, and they go, wait a minute, Bobo's got the title. Triple threat, WrestleMania, big men slapping meat, back and forth.
I just want Drew and Sheamus.
I know, honey, I know, but that's not what we're going to get.
But we could have a singles match with Drew and Bobo the first night and Drew and Sheamus the next night. I mean, that's the beauty of this 2-night event, actually. Last year, it was a 2-night event out of desperation because they had no crowd.
Right.
And they weren't like thinking in that, you know, they weren't designing their matches to be like, oh, we can give somebody, 2 WrestleMania matches. This year, they could actually think that way.
Yes. And now they can plan ahead to these 2-night WrestleManias. And the thing is, I'm even imagining after COVID, this is going to be their new thing. They will have 2-night WrestleManias.
Oh, I hope so. I would love to see them, next year in Dallas, having 2 nights there. I mean, that would just be awesome. I think that's the way to go going forward. I cannot tell you, it's still, boggles my mind how I sat through, in 2017, a 7-hour WrestleMania, and then in 2019, an 8-hour WrestleMania. Ugh. And I was leaving WrestleMania like, God, I am so happy that's over. And 2 times in a row, you shouldn't be leaving WrestleMania feeling that way. You just shouldn't.
No, you shouldn't. No. And you got to have, and I think they've learned in the past too, that when they get back to having the live shows and doing the 2-night WrestleManias, gassed crowds have been their bane. When it comes to WrestleMania for the past 6 to 7 years.
It makes them feel so cold. Even like a B pay-per-view where it's like, does this really need to go 4.5 hours long? It just makes the product feel like, yes, we know that there's issues with the product, but if you put on a 2.5-hour show like this, if they put this show in front of a live crowd, the crowd would have been eating out of their hands. They would have been leaving, still with some energy. Miz would have came in and cashed in Money in the Bank. They would have exploded. And everybody would have left with a good feeling, or at least the feeling of, hey, we saw something cool tonight.
Edge spearing Roman Reigns to kick off the show.
Right.
After that, oh yeah.
This is the way to go. And I don't know why they ever got out of that. I don't know what made them think like every show needs to be 4.5 hours long. In fact, it's so strange because when they were doing pay-per-views that you were spending, first start as 20, then 30, then 40, you're spending big money on these shows. Mm-hmm. Yes, I granted the pay-per-view companies can only give you a certain amount of time before they cut you off, but they could have negotiated to get more time from them. And now that they're giving it away for like $9.99 and now they're going to be giving it away for free on Peacock, to certain subscribers. That's the time when you they want to give more. It's so strange. I don't and it just never felt like it ever made sense to want to do a 4.5-hour show. No one was calling for it. And when it started happening and the crowds were dying early on, I don't know why they doubled down on it and okay, well, that's working out well. Let's make WrestleMania 8 hours. Let's double that time.
Well, it's because of the shift that they're doing in trying to sell their own product is what it is. It used back in the good old days, it always sold on pay-per-view, regardless of how long the show was. You got your money from the pay-per-view and the gates. It never dawned on you that it might be more cost-effective to lease your building for 2 nights and maybe get more bang for your buck and have a product that you have recorded, keep on your portfolio, so that when you go to the networks and you want to try to pitch that next $3 billion contract, you've got a hot crowd behind all of your shows.
Yes. And like I said, that feeling, like seeing a crowd that's energized, that really, can take a product that definitely has issues. That's what I meant to say before. It takes a product that definitely has issues, and makes it seem like, hey, you know what? It has some issues, but look, the crowd's hot. The crowd's hot through the whole entire show. Yeah. It makes it feel not as bad. But when you have a 4.5-hour show and you're putting on your big main event that you've been building up for a month or 2 months or whatever, and the crowd is sitting on their hands the entire time, that's not a good look.
When we went to WrestleMania, went to WrestleMania in Miami for Roxina 1, dear Lord, there are things that you and I will never forget about WrestleMania. Some things, I know one thing that we will both agree with that is embedded in our mind is how you fell asleep during Chris Jericho CM Punk, and I'm sitting there just next to Adam, who's former editor of Wrestleview.com. We're both sitting there just going, holy crap, man, look at this crowd. They are dead. They are dead in the water. Man, and it's not like everyone's leaving to go to the bathroom or get something to eat or anything. No, they are in their seats and they are sleepy. And
Yep.
so, and that's what it's been. This has been a problem with WrestleMania for the past 8 years, 10 years almost, to where they make them so god long. And it's like damn it, we paid for the rent for this building. We're going to try to take advantage of it. But they are not thinking of the portfolio that they are trying to build for selling their company.
Right.
And
but if you think about it, even that WrestleMania, that was only 5 hours.
yeah.
They pushed it to 8, with including their 2-hour pre-show before that, with multiple matches in the pre-show. It's an 8-hour show. That's insane.
I can't imagine being in any building of any kind for 8 hours long, regardless of
Sitting
what's
in a
happening
chair.
inside the building.
Right,
Okay.
right. And like stadium seats, like they're comfortable, but they're not meant to be sat in for 8 hours. They're meant to be, you sit in them for a 2.5-hour football game, and then you get out of there.
Yeah.
Like they are not, your ass and your back are not made to sit in those chairs for hours on end. And you're sitting because, like, how excited, like you burn yourself out. You know you have to pace yourself through the show. It's like, I'm not gonna like lose my mind over this, because there might be something later on that, like, is just like, you don't want to burn up all your energy. But Jesus, it's crazy.
But because now that WrestleMania, it looks like, is going to be now a 2-night event, it now begs us to recognize one thing, and we need to get this mantra out of the way about being called up to the main roster. Okay, NXT is part of the main roster,
Without question.
okay, and NXT is going to play a focal point in WrestleMania. All right, I see an NXT title match happening. I see a cinematic NXT match happening. There's going to be stuff happening from the Wednesday show, just as much as there's going to be stuff happening from the Monday show and the Friday show.
Well, I think at the very least, you're going to get the 2 singles titles. I think you're going to get the NXT Championship. I think, Adam Cole and, whoever else, Finn Balor in there. And, probably one on one night, one on the other night, and the NXT Women's Championship. I can easily see Io Shirai getting a moment out there.
Mm-hmm.
We still need to get Rhea Ripley going here.
Yeah, she made just her hello there at the Royal Rumble. Where is she?
Right. Well, I mean, Asuka is looking for an opponent now.
Well,
although Charlotte Flair is going to be involved, I'm sure, in some way. But
I'm sure
Rhea Ripley still hasn't gotten her win over Charlotte Flair either.
And I'm sure Rhea Ripley will show up in some point in time in the next 7 weeks, showing up on Monday on Raw, and probably have a match at Fastlane with title shot implications to lead up to WrestleMania, probably.
I hope so, because there's been so much start and stop with her. It's like, at what point do you do lasting damage?
Right.
At what point does it? I mean, it all it takes is one strong angle to turn somebody around, but sometimes it's hard to eliminate that stigma over somebody. I mean, like, the crowd gave Dolph Ziggler a million chances, or felt a certain way about Dolph Ziggler a bunch of times early in his career, right?
Oh yeah.
And then eventually it just turned into the thing where it's like, he's never going to be champion. They're never going to go with him. And those Ziggler pops that were really strong years ago are no longer there.
No. I've been playing the GIF of Edge spearing Roman.
Yes.
For
yeah,
a
you
while
still have to tell us what your favorite thing was.
Well, I guess that kind of is my favorite thing. Is, you normally don't get the Rumble winner making their decision right there at a pay-per-view, but right. I dug how they ended that whole thing with the SmackDown Elimination Chamber match leading into the Roman, big tough guy beating up Daniel Bryan, who's had an hour-long match, going into the grizzled veteran who says, all right, jackass, here we go. You wanted me so bad, you got me now. I really like how all of that panned out from television show-wise to on the pay-per-view, and here we are now. But it leaves a lot of questions in my mind to where, man, they built me up on Daniel Bryan and Cesaro like something fierce. Oh
Yeah.
man, did they build me up? They had my heartstrings and doing jump rope with it. And now they've just tossed that out to the garbage. Nah, we're doing Edge and Roman. And that's okay. That's okay. All right. Because I see Daniel Bryan and Cesaro becoming a tag team and getting the SmackDown tag team titles.
I actually think that, man, I would love to see them do just one singles match and just see what they can do. I mean, like, if they gave Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak at the very last pay-per-view in front of a crowd, they gave those two an opportunity to have a good singles match. I want to see Daniel Bryan and Cesaro and see what they can really do.
I was hoping
on a big stage.
The only down thing was I just did not like the finish of Cesaro being eliminated. After all the work that he put in and everything, all it took was, cliche super kick and splash from the top from Jey Uso to eliminate him. That's the only downside. But God, that I sound like everyone else and like, I should have kicked out and then kicked out some more because he's Cesaro. But no, I'm not like that. But that was a little bit of a letdown. I was looking forward to Cesaro winning and then immediately losing to Roman Reigns. That's kind of what I was wanting. And then leading into the television shows where Cesaro goes, damn it, that's the first major title match I've ever had in my entire career. And it had to be after I went through one of the most grueling matches I've ever been in. Right. I don't want anyone else telling me that I don't deserve anything anymore. And you build up on that character. Do we get that? Who knows? It's okay if we don't. But that's kind of what I was hoping for. But between them and him and Daniel Bryan had some great matches on SmackDown the past month and a half.
This is true.
So.
But they could do a lot more. It's like they are two talented individuals and they're holding back. It feels like. So I'd love to see what they do. Yeah, the Cesaro elimination. It stood out, and you're right about that. It kind of stood out as being a little bit of a letdown, especially because everybody gets 15 finisher kickouts. Like, we are conditioned now to be like, if somebody gets pinned straight up by a finisher, which I guess the super kick and splash from Jey Uso that's his finishing combination. When you see it actually happen, it's like, oh, that's disappointing. We should be seeing more of that. It's like in order to set those things up, so it's not such a disappointment at the end. And I hope they start, treating the finisher again, with some. I don't know what the right word is. I want to say respect, but there are things that you need in wrestling, in order to, for the stories to make sense. And you can't do a bunch of finisher kickouts. We've seen this through the years now, and again, that's another thing that burns the crowd out. Finisher kickout early on. That when you get to the main event and they're doing finisher kickouts, not that special anymore.
Well, the great thing about that is the Undertaker's retired. So we don't have to worry about that anymore. John Cena
does it. You watch an NXT show, Doug, and it's like third match on a regular USA Network NXT show, and they're kicking out of shit. It's like,
I'd like to introduce you to a cat named Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole.
I know. I've kept a million of his matches.
Oh God. Okay. So yeah, don't get me wrong. It's prevalent in NXT, but it's. I get the argument and I totally get it. And believe me, I would love to see a wrestling match where it's from way back in the day where a vertical suplex is what ends it. Where it's nothing but punches and kicks and some chicken shit being chased around the ring for 15 minutes. Okay, but that ain't going to happen. But the finisher kickouts, I think we are seeing a decline in the finisher kickouts, and you have the Thunderdome to thank for that because you aren't getting those live crowd pops the whole time.
Right.
Okay. You're getting, the piped in audio and stuff like that. Yeah. So
nobody kicks out of the Claymore kick. Usually I think we've only seen one finisher kick out of the Claymore kick. And I believe it was Randy Orton. No, it was Goldberg. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was Goldberg.
First one kicked out of the Claymore kick. No one's kicked out of a bro kick lately. Nobody.
Nope.
So they are you're right. They are definitely starting to protect finishers more, and they need to do that, especially if they're going to start, trying to introduce a live crowd at Wrestlemania. It's a good time. Sunlight's the best disinfectant. Kind of
Yeah.
just start hit the reset button on those things.
Yeah. And in time, that'll be happening. And we talk about Cesaro again. Neutralizer. He rarely uncorks that thing, but when he does, no one has ever kicked out of it.
There you go.
And that's what I appreciate more, is the finisher being so seldom used. There are supplemental moves that are used in succession that could be used as finishers, and then you get the roll-up pin, or you get the flash pin,
right,
or you get the tap out after you've been working on a limb for so long that you've never really used that submission move so much. I guess that's wrestling. I guess that's what that is.
It is.
Wow.
Every now and then they do something like that, but then it's just like it happens in a vacuum and they never do it again. It's like so strange. It's like like they need to do these things consistently. Like TV matches, you hit your finisher, that's the end of it. That should be how it's done. They should start conditioning their crowd again to do that, because then you open up yourself to so many new finishes again. Like you can make a finish feel special. And like Jamel's saying in the chat room, if you can cut down the unnecessary dives, we've talked about that before, so we want to do that again. We could be back in business here. Like wrestling, and also, I know that there's no rules in wrestling, but they have done so many stupid things on Raw where it's like, Omos is interfering like directly in front of the referee, and it's like, well, if you're taking away the referee's ability to call disqualification, and like you're killing another finish for a match, and so when the disqualification eventually gets called in another match, it just is like, well, this show just sucks, and it's just like it's a mess, like you have a Moss catching a guy, and then that's interference. Like that should be in full view of the referee. It should be called. And like him pulling the plexiglass off the thing tonight and AJ Styles entering in, he's not supposed to be in the match at that point. So why is he making pinfalls? It's like, they need to start making the referees an actual authority again, that have some credibility. Because again, why would you want to eliminate another like extra finishes from your matches? Like you're putting on all this television every week, 5 hours of wrestling, on a non-pay-per-view week. Well, actually 7 hours if you include NXT, 8 hours if you include fucking 205 live. Too much stuff. You need to have multiple finishes in your back pocket that you can go to. So why kill off certain finishes? Doesn't make any sense to me.
I guess let me see. I do miss for the days to where the wrestlers would shove the ref and the ref shoves back, but they literally bump for the ref.
Triple H and Earl Hebner.
Oh God. But there does seem to be a lot of confusion when it comes to what is the role of the referee in the matches. Not just on Raw, but in many other federations. And God,
without question. But I mean, WWE is General Motors though for wrestling, and as WWE goes, so generally goes the wrestling business. Like if they start, making those things mean more, then the other companies will follow suit, because a lot of those wrestling schools will say, okay, you want to get into WWE, this is what you got to do. This is how you got to work your matches. And, then all of a sudden you start to see that trickle down effect in, the smaller indies, and then it works its way up.
Yeah. Yeah. Got the graphic up here of Jey Uso just going to town on Kevin Owens. And again, we had the Kevin Owens leaping off the top of the pod onto a bunch of people spot. We have Kevin Owens doing the Kevin Owens spots, because Kevin Owens is the only one who can do the Kevin Owens spots. How long can Kevin Owens maintain doing Kevin Owens spots?
He's up there, man. He's been taking those bumps for a long time. I mean, and way before he got into the WWE. 36 years old, a stocky guy. Yes, he's athletic for his build. but he's still a stocky dude, taking those bumps. I mean, like, there have been multiple times I've seen him get choke slammed on the ramp. I've seen him get slammed, from the top of a ladder by Braun Strowman through a bunch of tables. I've seen him get knocked off the top of the steel cage through a table. I've seen him take bumps off of Hell in a Cell. He's done a lot of. And go to Royal Rumble. He was taking big bumps off of the forklift and off of the whatever, in the Thunderdome, where they keep the fans.
Like the scaffolding, I guess is what
scaffolding,
that would be.
I guess you could say. And on top of that, like when he takes a move, like, if he's going into the steel steps, he's driving his shoulder as hard as he possibly can into the steel steps to make it look good.
Yeah.
It's like, how much longer are we going to get Kevin Owens doing all that stuff? That's a great question. I don't know. Everybody has a bump card, and I would like to see him be a little more discerning with the things that he does. But I guess if you're in a big position, that's one thing. But damn,
he's a guy that
really does kill himself.
Yeah, he is a guy that strikes me that he's going to be going on some 6-month and 9-month long vacations for the next 5 years. Okay, this is the guy who is going to be the consummate. He's going to be on my milk carton, and then suddenly when he appears, everyone's like, oh my God, it's Kevin Owens. And then he'll be gone after 3 months, and then comes right back, oh my God, it's Kevin Owens. And you're starting to wonder, well, why isn't he working as hard as he... Well, this is why.
Getting killed.
Yeah, he's killing himself. All for the sake of the business. I don't know. I mean, but I guess it's not as blatant as other people. I guess is the best way that I can put it. I mean, there are some that have just blatantly done some dumb bumps just for the sake of having that dumb bump. Yeah. God, geez. Wow. Let's just look at the portfolio of Paul London and Brian Kendrick and have some fun with that.
Right. But they're smaller guys, and it's like there's not as much mass coming down. It's like, man, he's midsection heavy there.
And yeah. And I don't know if that's something Vince McMahon didn't like until he saw that he could fall off things. Then Vince McMahon didn't have a problem with that. You got a gut on you, Kevin. Oh, you say you like gravity. All right, I've got a place for you on my television show.
Speaking of Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Okay, so I put this tweet out earlier, especially looking at the competition, or the guys that are lined up for title matches heading into WrestleMania or currently holding a title. Like we all know about the edicts on social media, and you can't like they don't want them taking pictures at restaurants now on their superstar social medias.
Oh wow!
Because that they don't want them to be indirectly endorsing a restaurant that they're at, that they're just like, oh, I'm at this restaurant with my friend. You can't say the restaurant name,
right?
Because they want it. Anything they do, they're trying to brand as much.
Just say you're going out to dinner. Just don't say that you're having the chicken parmesan at Olive Garden.
Right, because then it's like, well, if WWE has an endorsement with Olive Garden or whatever, it's like whatever. There's a lot of edicts out there right now, dominating the social media. But is there an edict? And I say the same thing about the New York Yankees and their fucking rotation and stuff like that. Is there an edict against signing guys that didn't have Tommy John? Is there an edict against anybody being in a title match that's under 40?
Yeah, I'm kind of bringing that up. Yeah, I'm bringing up your tweet here because I think it was Mashoon that tagged me on this while I was watching the show, and I looked at it and I was like, that's something we got to talk about here.
Right. Edge is 47 years old, Sheamus 43, Hardy 43, and these are just guys that either getting a shot at WrestleMania or involved in an Elimination Chamber match tonight.
Yeah.
Miz 40, Edge 47, Sheamus 43, Hardy 43, Lashley 44, Styles 43, Orton 40. The only guy that was under 40 in the match was Drew McIntyre in the Elimination Chamber match. You
know who the youngest performer was on the entire Elimination Chamber card?
I would imagine it's Bianca Belair.
I don't have Bianca Belair's age. No. It was Sasha Banks. Sasha's 29.
Oh my God, Bianca's 31. I thought she was in her 20s.
Nah. Nah.
Sasha Banks only 29?
Yeah, she hasn't hit 30 years old yet.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, you got the Miz at 40. You've got all of these over 40s. And I'm kind of just looking down the card and my ages. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff that we keep track of, people. We're not creepy at all. Drew McIntyre at 36, I think. Is he 35 or 36?
Yes, he's 36.
36, yeah. Jey Uso, 35.
I believe Roman Reigns is 30. He's 35. He's going to be 36 this year.
Yeah, Roman 35. We got, who else am I looking at here?
Daniel Bryan is 38, I believe.
No, 39.
Oh, he's 39.
Yeah,
he's going to be 40 this year.
Yeah.
My point is, there's a lot of old guys at the top, sitting at the top of this card, and all the roosters are coming home to roost very soon. AJ Styles has signed his last contract. He has said that multiple times, and the way he works, he's
working a hell of a lot safer now.
He sure is. But the way he works still, even in his going in a safer direction, when he has to sign another contract at 46, does he want to be doing all that shit still? Is the question. Kevin Owens, again, we were just talking about him with how many big bumps he's taken. He's in his mid 30s, heading to his late 30s right now. How much longer can they go with him? Drew McIntyre is already 36. Keith Lee is 36. I mean, holy crap. Riddle's 35. The only guys in the Royal Rumble, Doug, that were under 30 were Otis and Dominic Mysterio, and they're doing dick with those two. I hate to be ageist or anything like that, but
no.
There is an age problem here. And yes, granted, they're not athletes, like in Major League Baseball, where it's like, yes, there is in baseball, like if you're taking a line drive at your face that's going 117 miles an hour, you have to have good reflexes, and it's just a fact that your reflexes go down, as the years go on. So your reflexes are way different at 25 than they will be at 35. You'll be much slower. So WWE doesn't have that thing because they're not they're simulated competition. It's really more of a dance, but they still take an incredible amount of punishment. Every show has some gimmick match. They have to, because of how they've conditioned the crowd and, other companies pushing things as well. It's like they have to go for big shock and awe, and everybody has to potato the shit out of each other, on every single show in order to make it look good, I guess. Well, like how much longer can these guys go? They're all turning 40 at the same time. They're all gonna eventually, probably want to slow down a little bit. Like, what's the deal?
Well, this was a topic that I touched on one episode of Weekly, and I think it was sometime last year, about a good maybe 6 or 7 months ago. I remember that. I put out this poll of, at what age do you consider a professional wrestler to be in their prime? And the winner was between the ages of 30 and 35. Narrowly beat out between 35 and 40. But it was between the age of 30 and 35 that you were considered to be in your prime. So definitely take that into consideration. John Cena was in his prime at that age. Roman Reigns is in his prime right now and has been going through that cycle. Drew McIntyre is that age right now and is going through that cycle. It's going to be for right now.
It's kind of hard to argue that Randy Orton isn't in his prime.
It is. But
it's kind of hard to argue that AJ Styles isn't the best version of AJ Styles that we've seen.
Right. I can throw out some people right now that are in that age bracket, or that are going to be coming up into that age bracket very soon, that they need, I don't want to say need to invest in, but need to keep eye on, because they could in future times rely upon them to do a lot more. Keith Lee is there right now. He's there 35 years old. He could be doing that. He could be. Elias should have been there. He's 32. And not just talking about, it's even worse when it comes to the women. At women, you've got to be way younger to be doing that. And you think things are bad for the men's side? Oh, it's worse for the women. it's way worse for the women. How much longer do you think they're going to keep Charlotte Flair and Bayley, and when she comes back from Tiny Human and Tom Tom Becky Lynch? And Shayna Baszler turns 40 next year. Okay? So we got to keep an eye on all spectrums here.
Right.
You want other names that I could throw out there? Just look at it. Would you know Bray Wyatt turns 34? Okay, but he's doing this weird comic book shit, is what he looks at doing. Adam Cole is going to be one that I would hang my hat on. Adam Cole is one that I would see going to Raw or SmackDown, and you could instantly turn him into a more asshole Shawn Michaels than Shawn Michaels ever was. Braun Strowman was there, but they didn't strike that iron. Man, that was a molten lava, hot iron they could have struck, and they did not know how to do it.
Right.
Yeah, we got them all. Yeah, we got Jamel Fons Balor, 39. Nia Jax, 36. Seth Rollins, 34. I mean, we could list numbers and
up there.
Yeah,
he's only 33, but he's taken a lot of he takes a lot of punishment. He's been injured quite a few times now.
But I guess what I'm also trying to say is that this is not foreign territory. This has happened before. We had this discussion. God, I remember having this discussion with Adam and Hunter about 8 years ago, where we were seeing Shawn Michaels, Batista, Undertaker, Kane, Mark Henry, Big Show, going down the line of all these performers that were going to be out the door within 2 to 3 years. And we were the same way. We did not think that they were ready on their roster for that. But sure enough, up comes Braun Strowman. Bobby Lashley comes for a second coming. Drew McIntyre for a second coming.
Right.
Roman Reigns.
These are all guys that got signed from outside of their developmental system, though. Even you're looking at the guys like AJ Styles, Riddle, just a bunch of guys that didn't come through their farm system. So the point is, I guess, like it's kind of an indictment on their farm system too. This performance center where they, you think about the OVW class of 2000, 2001, 2002, which was Lesnar, Cena, Batista, and Orton.
Yeah.
It's like they really didn't have a lot of guys down there, but man, they took what they had and polished them up and made them into lasting superstars.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have a roster of over 100 down at the Performance Center. And who's standing out? Who's sticking out? Like you have Bianca Belair, yes. Like that's a success story. But generally it's like, very few and a whole bunch of busts, essentially.
Yeah.
It's really strange. And the rest, they just have to go outside and sign a bunch of people. You have to sign Johnny Gargano from wherever he was. You have to sign Keith Lee from Evolve. You have to sign Riddle from Evolve. You have like they basically raided Evolve and then bought their video library so they could have some background of these guys.
Hell, they've done the same with Progress over across the pond.
Right.
Yes, I am getting a stiffy. Imperium is coming to NXT. If Walter shows up on my television, I will be a puddle. Okay. So yeah. But yeah, they've raided every federation you can think of. Okay. Right. They've raided them.
And it's diminishing returns because it's like they waited so long with like Shawn Michaels, like you were saying, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Big Show, those guys. They let them be over for so long that they left without really putting anybody over. Mm-hmm. Like you think like Shawn Michaels' retirement match was against The Undertaker. Like that's not really putting somebody over at the end, right? It's like he just kind of goes out and it's like, okay, I dominated everybody and now I'm going out on top without like doing the favors to anybody. So it's like, now you have a bunch of these guys that were held under by these bigger guys, coming up, diminished returns. We had to sign a whole bunch of people from outside, to kind of, fill the plugs in the boat.
Yeah.
And now they're coming. Now they're coming to roost. Let's just say like in the next 3 years we lose AJ Styles, Sheamus because he has that spinal stenosis.
Yeah.
And what the hell? Finn Balor or something or somebody like that, or Bobby Lashley. Let's say Bobby Lashley goes
Yeah,
away.
Bobo. Yeah.
Who are we calling up to just even replace those guys? Who's going to be the stopgap there? Ricochet? Like it's the law of diminishing returns, because they have to start, while these people are here, using these people to get the next generation of stars over, and stop, like with this whole thing. Like Dolph Ziggler's career has been totally and I'm only saying his name because they were mentioning him in the chat before, that he's actually 40 years old too.
Yeah.
His whole entire career has been like, oh, he's Shawn Michaels light. He's Shawn Michaels. Like they've mentioned it on commentary a million times that he's like the new Shawn Michaels and stuff. It's like, you got to stop comparing these guys to stars of yesteryear, because they'll never be more than that. They'll always be compared against them.
Yeah.
So when they're not as over or as exciting as they were, because they were coming up in a different era when, kayfabe was a little more alive and well, and people really, and there weren't as many shows on, so like these guys had more name recognition, and they seem like bigger stars just because of that, because TV didn't have a million different channels and Raw wasn't 10 hours long and this and that. You're never going to get somebody over by making them into the next this or the next that. Yeah, they have to find a way to get these people over without, comparing them to stars of yesteryear. They have to get over on their own merits, and nobody really does.
For me, it's not so much, the comparisons, it's not as much that. It's, holy cow, go on NXT's roster and just look at their names. Just look at the names of the people that are on the roster. Not
Going
even,
on right now.
Yeah, just pull it up. Don't even look at their pictures or anything. Just their names. They sound so monochronistic. Okay. Yeah. They sound so, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong. I will name you Undisputed Era right there. But if you took any random person and told them that they need to watch those four people, and just looking at their names, they're going to go, why?
Right.
Why? Every single person, there's about 75% of the roster on NXT has got names that are only 2 or 3 syllables long. Okay? Yep. You can't tell the difference between them all in just cadence alone by their names. Now, if we go past that, almost all of them look the same. They're all under 6 foot, 6'1", and look like $1.75 soaking wet. I look at some of them and I start to think that I could be a pro wrestler. I'm 41 fucking years old and overweight at 205. No, I can't. But somehow I see some of these guys and I think I can be a pro wrestler. No, pro wrestlers are supposed to be characters, larger than life, comic book characters that, my God, you can spot them anywhere at that restaurant. Okay, You know who's eating at that restaurant. I'll tell you right now, if Johnny Gargano went to any random restaurant in any town, no one would know who the hell he is.
Agreed.
Okay?
Agreed.
No one.
Agreed.
So,
but I mean that's also a symptom of wrestling not being cool anymore. But they've also made themselves uncool, by not finding that next humongous star. The last one was really John Cena.
Yeah.
Everybody else is it's like again, law of diminishing returns. It's like the next star is a little less over than the last one, but. Also, wrestling fans, I've talked about this with CJ Bowman before, wrestling fans have actually made wrestling extremely uncool as well. They have definitely done their part.
Oh, I've done my part. I know I have.
And by the way, if you're enjoying this show, please make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. And just for reference, I'm actually Mike Tedesco. That's Doug Lackey over
there. Yeah, that's right. Look at that. Yeah, we got these wrong. They're supposed to be flip-flop. They're the other. You know what? You sent me this damn nice graphic. Why didn't it show up? I thought Dear God, Mike went through all this trouble to make sure that our show was running well and everything, and then, God damn it.
I was just informed about it. It's like I didn't even notice.
There we go. Dear God. Well, we were so hyped up and amped to be able to do the show for you guys. What can we say?
This is true. Now, getting back to Elimination Chamber, you mentioned before about that women's tag team title match.
Yeah.
I just want to say, especially because we were just talking about pushing young talent and getting people over strong. I thought this was a humongous missed opportunity. Bianca Belair, she's just been kind of floating around since the Royal Rumble win, which was again dramatic, and it was only 3 weeks ago. But it was super dramatic, super heartfelt, and now she's just been kind of like they've been doing that kiss of death babyface thing where it's like, I'm so happy just to be existing right now, and WWE's made all my dreams come true, and I did this and that. It's like they had an opportunity to let her go in there tonight against. It's hard to do anything with Nia Jax, and that's not a knock on her work. That's just a symptom of just her size. It's hard to do anything with her. Even if you're Bianca Belair and you're super strong. But Shayna Baszler was in there, and Bianca can definitely do stuff with her. She's had matches against Shayna before.
Oh yeah.
And for God's sake, why aren't why did Bianca Belair not have an awesome, incredible showing against at least one of them tonight? Like she did a backflip that was really nice. That was it. She was just there. And at this point, when you're trying to build her up as a big Wrestlemania contender and potentially the next face of their women's division, the next Becky Lynch in many cases, because they don't really have another Becky Lynch except for Asuka, and they kind of backed off on that now. She should have been running all over this match, showing off her athletic prowess. Because they always talk about, she's the EST, and she was the quietest in that match. She was the EST of quiet.
I'm really hoping that they're doing that on purpose. I'm really hoping that when WrestleMania times happens, that she's unloading on Sasha Banks, because that's what we know what's going to happen. She's going against Sasha Banks. That's what's going to be happening here.
Yeah.
But I'm anticipating her just to unload, like do one or two real big moves of some kind that are going to be going on in that match. But I'm kind of with you in that, yes, they could slowly build her up and have her match. She had a decent program with Bayley. But it does feel like it was falling a little flat. Did we have to have her run an obstacle course? Did we need to have that?
Right.
I mean, couldn't we I would rather see her in a squash match. Just have her squash Billy Kay. Come on. Why not? Have her squash Peyton Royce. Why not? And it's an easy one. Just a wham bam, thank you, ma'am, 60-second piece. That's all you got to do. And she doesn't really necessarily need to show off that much either. She can have any other match that she had in NXT. That's all. Just have her in a match of some kind, But this whole thing with Sasha Banks is really freaking annoying me. I'm sorry. Anything involving Sasha Banks annoys me.
Agreed.
I'm sorry. Everything involving Sasha Banks annoys me.
And Andrew just kind of mentioned it before. I was literally just going to say it. While I was getting ready for the show, the Broken Skull sessions with Sasha Banks was on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was so cringy. Just the first 5 minutes of it, I was like, oh, God. She sounds like such a total mark. And it's like, you know what? Like, when
kind of breaking on me there a little bit, Mike.
Inherently uncool people on the planet.
Let me see. Try. What was that again? I'm sorry. You're kind of breaking on me there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Oh, I see how my face was frozen in the thumbnail. I was saying that when when you get to the dance, when you get to the big show, you have to sound like you've been there before. And when he cracked open that beer and she's like, "Oh hell yeah!" I was like, "Oh my god!" That was it's so incredibly cringe. And I'm like, no wonder wrestling is uncool. They're signing supremely uncool people right now.
Let me see. Which one was more cringeworthy? Her interview with Stone Cold or Dean Ambrose's with Stone Cold? I think this one was worse.
This one was worse. Yeah. Actually, the Dean Ambrose with Stone Cold, it was just like it just
Dean
seemed
did
like
not
they
give a
had no
damn.
they had no chemistry.
Yeah.
But Sasha Banks was pretending like she had chemistry, and like I don't know what's worse.
I mean, let me see. Deanna and I in our home, we do a lot of organic food shopping. We know organic. Sasha has got so many preservatives. Okay, everything is fucking fake with her. Everything.
Yes. Phony
To the nines. And look, I know people are supposed to sell. I know you're supposed to work me. I totally get it. Yes, I've known this for a very long time. She's a fucking horrible saleswoman. I'm sorry. I ain't buying jack. Okay? I'm not buying anything you're telling me about your little hiatus that you went on after WrestleMania in the Dominican Republic. Okay? You needed a vacation. You couldn't wrestle anymore. Just say it. Okay? Just say it. You couldn't think of anything else to do in the ring. So now we're channeling Eddie Guerrero from the grave.
Well, it wasn't going her way, so she walked away.
Exactly.
Like that's a horrific attitude to have.
And it still amazes me that she's still with the company. It amazes me that she's still with the company when it comes to that. And by God, I'm tired of her. I please, someone sell me on her other than she makes you a simp. Please, someone sell me on her. Someone. Okay, I'm right now riding a high from the past 2 or 3 weeks ago when Nia Jax liked and retweeted one of my tweets where she just destroyed Dana Brooke. I'm sorry. I'm tired of white knights simping for dainty little ladies. I'm tired of it. All right.
Thank you. Yep.
I love Nia Jax. I want her destroying everyone. I don't care. Her hole is fine. Just destroy people. Oh, God. Yeah, Sasha Banks makes me angry. I got to think of something else to make me happy. Mike, make me happy.
Well, WrestleMania is shaping up to look like a very good show.
Okay, I'm happy.
we know for a fact that it's not going to go too long because we have 2 nights. So that's always a positive.
That's right.
You know, I have to say, you know, again, I know I mentioned it earlier, but the match, like the card, even though like there were a couple of surprises, and yes, it was there were a couple of things up in the air, and that's literally a symptom of COVID. That's just a symptom of the times that we're living in right now. They still managed to, every match didn't exist in a vacuum. Like everything meant something heading into WrestleMania. There was a lot of big angles on this show, and you know, like. Josh Batwell right now is compiling this article where he's interviewing a whole bunch of people about how you got into wrestling and this and that. And I wrote mine up today, and I'll give you a little preview of what I said. It's like, you know, yes, the current product kind of drives me crazy sometimes. And not because like I hate wrestling or I'm old school, I'm burned out. It's like I see what they have on this, you know, in terms of, ability on this roster. And it's like, I know that they could do so much more with what they have right now because there's a lot of talented individuals out there. I don't know how well they can talk because usually they're given some horrible lines that, like, you know, I know for a fact Ricochet can't talk. That one I know.
Yeah, we know that. We know that.
He fucking sucks. But, there's a couple other people where it's like, I'd like to see what they can do if they were just kind of just let them run on the mic a little bit. I think Drew McIntyre, I think, is just a natural at that.
Cesaro can try. Cesaro tries. I mean,
he definitely does. Daniel Bryan can cut one hell of a babyface promo. But you know, because as crazy as everything drives me, you know, I'm still in that mindset. I still love wrestling so much, and not just WWE, but just like all wrestling. Where like if there's a big show, like tonight was a really well put together, very good show. I don't care how much I drag my feet going to watch Monday Night Raw sometimes and recapping that show. I am once again, just like if I was 13 years old all over again, sitting in English class, looking at the clock and saying, "Oh, it's 9:00 in the morning. Just 12 hours to go till Monday Night Raw. That's awesome." Like I am excited to watch Raw tomorrow to see how they follow up with all this stuff. That's for me. This is WrestleMania season, Doug. You know, it's a big season for our website, big season for our shows, and a big season to be a wrestling fan. That's all I can ask. Am I excited to watch what they do tomorrow? Yes, that's important.
Well, sure. Me, it's oh boy. When it comes to Boutwell's piece, I'll be honest, I don't really need to chip in just because I've told my story so much about how I got into pro wrestling and everything. But when it comes to that and relaying off of what you're talking about there, I love laughing. This is why I watch professional wrestling. It's not to cheer or boo. It's not to see great feats of athleticism. It's not to see one guy lift someone who's twice as heavy as them, or see a dainty little lady do some wacky stuff in the ring that I could never imagine myself doing.
Right.
I love to laugh. I love watching MSK and Beth Phoenix munch on popcorn while a substandard promo is happening in the ring. I love the New Day in every facet, whether they're apart or together. I love watching the stuff they do in the ring. I love stupid stuff. And not just in the WWE. I love it in AEW. Dark Order, I freaking love the Dark Order. I love it. And, I love these guys. I just love stupid stuff. What are they from NXT UK? Pretty something. Tag teams over there. God dang it.
Yeah, I know.
Pretty something. Everyone else in the chat room knows what I'm talking about. Pretty deadly. They're fun to watch.
Yeah.
NXT UK is a really fun show to watch right now.
I still think that Walter Dragunov match was one of the better matches I've seen in a long time.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
really, really good.
Oh, yeah.
Really good. That's one of the better matches of 2020.
That's why I get such a little chubby thinking about Walter coming to stateside. But I try to tell myself, it was one of the first things that he mentioned when he was first signed with the company was he was not going to travel to the States. He's staying across the pond. And I'll be honest,
do it a few times, but that is not his priority.
No, and I'll be honest, I'm totally for him on that. Stay over there, man. You've got that held down.
Kind of like build him up like this like a special attraction.
Mm-hmm.
Big dude that just clubs people, like They don't really have attractions in wrestling anymore. Like Braun Strowman should be used sparingly. Big Show, when he was around, they should have used him sparingly. Like make him like another Andre or something like that. Like you need like a special attraction where it's like they're not around all the time, but when they come out and they're larger than life, gargantuan humans, it's like, wow, that's impressive.
And I will build Walter right now when it comes to that. Okay, his whole thing with Imperium is that the mat is sacred. Never defile this great territory that we have made as our own.
Right.
The ring is sacred. I see Walter showing up maybe once a year on a random episode of WWE or on pay-per-view or something like that, and just going after someone who has defiled the ring, okay, who just shows up and goes, "You're making a mockery of what's happening here, and me, the God, is here to bring the thunderclap from the heavens across your chest." Okay, I want to see him. God, him and Seth Rollins would just be so great. That'd be just a great match. But that's how I would book him. But again, I watch wrestling to laugh. Walter chops make me laugh. Holy crap. Anything inside and outside the ring like that's what makes me laugh. That's how I enjoy wrestling. We're getting up to the Wrestlemania times where there's going to be a bunch of laughter because Bad Bunny's going to be in a tag team match with The Miz. Give it to me. Give that to me. That sounds great. And you can incorporate the 24/7 title into that match where everyone's running out to the ring to try to pin it. It becomes a madhouse. Do it. Sounds fantastic. And then we can have our serious matches with Sasha Banks trying to channel Eddie Guerrero versus Bianca Belair. And which one's the best spear. And,
I don't know about that.
Or the Fiend will show up. That'll make everything better. Mm-hmm.
He still hasn't shown up yet. Everybody, including me, called for it. Like, oh my God, they're gonna like have Randy Orton dragged under the ring in the Elimination Chamber, and they're gonna do something dicky. Now, Fiend will probably be all over Raw tomorrow night, so I'm just gearing myself up for that.
We saw a ship burning during the WrestleMania promo, and we heard his laugh, so he's going to be showing up at some point for WrestleMania, where, by God, I've got to say this, that is some of the worst hastily put together promo material for WrestleMania I have ever seen.
Well, it's like they literally took last year's and then just updated it with like some quick videos of guys from this year. It's like, wow, it really just like it doesn't flow like it did last year.
No, they took last year's and just photoshopped the fuck out of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like, what the hell are they doing here?
My God, I mean, God, I could take some classes and make that look a lot better, guys. Come on. Anyway. Yeah. What did everyone think of that? Did we do a poll of some kind?
Yes, we did. Of course.
Oh, good. I will bring that up right now. I will go on to our brilliant Twitter thing that's done by the Effervescent one, because Doug doesn't do stuff on that. Let me see live coverage.
The very first thing that came up on my Twitter is Mick Foley trying too hard once again. Oh, God. Mick Foley on social media, like, I remember when he wrote "Have a Nice Day" and he bragged about not having a computer and he did everything on notebook paper. It's like, Mick, just go back to that, because on social media you are such a spineless worm. God, I can't stand. He tries so hard to be like Mr. Progressive. It's like, stop, please, I beg of you. I love Mick Foley. He's a very nice man. He did me and Victoria solid years ago. Stop, please.
Poor guy. Anyway, there are a lot of people in the wrestling world that do try way too hard on social media. Yeah, you can usually tell by how often they retweet something in how many minutes they retweet something. Because it happens all the time. I log on to my Twitter and I go, oh shit, here goes Tatanka. He's retweeting everything right wing for the next 15 minutes. Oh boy. All right.
That asshole.
Yeah, let's see. What did you think? What did everyone think of the Pop-O-Matic of Doom? Yeah, I'll give it a thumbs up. There we go. 61.7% gave this show a thumbs up. 38.3% gave it a thumbs down. There is no such thing as thumbs in the middle because you got to have a pair. It's either up or down, yes or no. You are not allowed to go meh. You got to have creamy or chunky peanut butter. You can't have both. Mike, is this an up or a down for you?
Oh, this is a total up. Total up. I'm excited about wrestling for tomorrow, so total up.
That's all that matters. As long as you're excited for the next day.
That's can't beat that. Like that's every show should build to the next one and make you excited to see it. Like yes, of course there's like your ultimate capstone shows like WrestleMania where it's like, okay, just everything builds to that, and then you just rebuild after that.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see Raw tomorrow, as they can they're as of right now, they're not limping at all to WrestleMania. Right now, they are going full steam ahead, to use a nautical term, with their WrestleMania ship thing this year.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm excited. Just been so abused over the years, but I'm still excited at the end of the day to watch wrestling.
WrestleMania's on a boat. We're on a boat. Or take a good hard look at the motherfucking boat. Let me see.
Boats and hoes.
And Andrew in there saying that the show got a thumbs up, Elimination Chamber got a thumbs up, and I get a thumbs up for coming back. Aw, Muffin. You didn't have to. I guess that check cleared.
Daniel Schell gave us a thumbs up. Roy gives us a thumbs up. Let's see.
Chamber gets a 6, says Daniel. We aren't incorporating numbers into this. No, it's up or down.
If I know Daniel, he's probably going for 69, actually.
Yeah.
But he killed his own gimmick.
Yeah, sure did. I mean, God, you can only be 12 for so long, Daniel. Come on. Sorry, dude. All right. Time to have me some fun here. Yes, because that's going to do the show. That's the end of the show. I think that's a good way to end it because we're all happy. It's a good show.
Absolutely.
Mike, you and Victoria are going to be covering Raw tomorrow night, aren't you?
We are. We
Yes.
definitely are. And as Mr. Roy Nemmer, who's in the chat room, astutely pointed out earlier in the chat, Roy also is the host of the brand new SmackDown post show, which
Yes.
you can catch on Fridays after SmackDown. Astutely pointed out that Elimination Chamber was shorter than Monday Night Raw. so
That's
there's that.
why we're so happy.
So at least but the first 3 hour show I'll recap this week will be tomorrow night, so it won't be I won't have to recap back to backs. That's nice. Yes, me and Victoria, the queen of Wrestleview, the Ms. Queen, the Ms. Fit, is very excited to be talking about tomorrow night's Monday Night Raw, I can assure you. So make sure you tune in. We usually pop on around 11:15, 11:20. To discuss all things Monday Night Raw, news around wrestling, the whole shtick. You know our show.
Yeah.
You know us. You trust our faces. Make sure you tune into the SmackDown post show on Friday as well, as we continue our build towards WrestleMania here on the Wrestleview YouTube channel. All right.
Yes. And I come on here to say that I will be returning in full force next week, Sunday, 5:00 in the afternoon, going over all of the stuff that's happened on the televisions, that the beautiful one Mike and the effervescent one Victoria. No, I got those mixed up. And Roy, the guy in Canada, the brother of the really good person, he talks about the SmackDown. So I will be talking about what they talked about, but not as much in depth. But also I've got the WWE milk carton coming up, guys. Major updates. We have celebrations because we have brand new golden gallons to talk about. And also we are going to look back one final time at the WrestleMania whiteboard. We've done it 8 times for the past calendar year. We booked some really good WrestleManias. We've thought of some really good matches. The WWE just doesn't get it. Vince McMahon's been doing this shit for 50 years, and he just doesn't get it, But we get it. We know what he's doing, so we're going to go over the card, see what is left to be booked. And also, just because it's a tequila-free show doesn't mean that it's going to be a sober show, because I found me a mini bottle of Johnny Walker Blue, and it's going to be a good show. Please tune in. Okay. Thank you all so much for stopping by. Seriously, like, share, and subscribe. That's what all of the jokers tell you on YouTube and Twitch. We are no different, but we aren't going to be obnoxious about it. Like, share, and subscribe. Those are the shows that we have. We aren't going to bug you. We don't take this stuff way too seriously. You're nice people. You smell good. Please like us. I'm getting creepy. Yeah, I'm getting creepy, aren't I, Mike? A little bit. Okay. All right, that'll do it, guys. Yes. Yeah, a little bit. See you all tomorrow night over here on the channel for the Post-Raw show. Everyone, don't be an asshole. Wear a mask. Think of others before yourselves. And as always, know when you're being sold to.